another new time. And we wanted to welcome you to the Automated Marketer podcast, where we discuss everything that's going on in tech and marketing and kind of trying to combine and make sense of it all in this crazy, maddening world. Andy, a lot of crazy things going on this week. Some controversial things, don't know if anybody knows, but apparently anybody that's using Zoom, apparently you are giving away all your rights to the bots.
Really?
Yeah, it's raised a lot of concerns. Now, I have yet to see where exactly in the terms and service. I was trying to, kind of skate through it a little bit, but apparently Zoom now officially has said that anytime a conversation's in here, the bots will have complete access to the conversations and they can use it. So they changed their terms of service. They didn't give anybody the options of opting out, and people are losing it over this thing. I think it's like one of those things, like the colossal bad moves that certain companies will make. I think this will. We use Zoom consistently. I hope that's not the case and they come out of it.
I wonder if Google Meet is going to be the same way.
Well, people are now going to Google Meet, which, by the way, has come a very long way.
Yeah.
Much different than it was a couple of years ago. So people are now turning to Google Meet because literally, I was trying to find it. I mean, the terms of service are massive. So trying to find this blurb of what they said and they updated the terms and service is pretty wild. But just think about it. It's because it has the transcription services all being added.
Sure.
We're saying that they're now going to use it so then they can use AI to shift through your notes or whatever else. But I think it should be optional whether or not people.
I wonder if they're using it to complete people's sentences when they're doing transcriptions for closed captions.
I actually think it might be indexing, just so then you can go find a Zoom meeting that you wanted to read. Kind of do that.
Could have used that today.
I know. Yeah, we were going to this trouble this morning, but I think they got to give people the choice, and I think they're going to royally they got to act quick, because if they don't act quick, they're going to lose a mountain of people. And it's not like we don't have our choices. There's Riverside, there is Zoom, there is WeChat. There's WeChat, there's Google Meet, and I think honestly, we're such fans of Google. Why not just go put all our stuff in Google and just be done with it? Then we don't even have to pay a month for Google.
Yeah, and Zoom can get quite expensive. And how many people, if you're doing a small webinar, how many people can you put into Google Meet?
Well, you remember, a webinar is completely separate. You actually pay a separate cost. Well, and speaking of webinar, you and I have we kind of surprisingly trying to solve a webinar issue with one of our current automations, and for anybody that's not watching, you don't know what a webinar is. We have a great launch with a great client of ours that is about to launch. We think it's going to be a massive launch. And we need a webinar software. Webinar software, just so you understand, it's a software that allows you to go and watch a presentation, what would you call it? A presentation,
a live presentation, like you were there, but through your computer, on your computer. It's you can join a group of people, but there's usually a single speaker. And what's really nice is that webinar can often be evergreen, so it seems like it's live, but it's actually not, so it can be repeated, which allows the presenter, the person selling either coaching or something else, to feel like they're giving a live class, and they can even make it kind of feel live, like they're answering questions even though it's recorded.
Yeah, and so what's funny about that is that the software that we literally stumbled onto it, we actually had bought it, and me, I tend to buy things.
You had a lifetime.
Yeah, and I always go back and I'll eventually try them all, but it takes a while. But we went back because we needed another solution, because the current software that they were using wasn't integrating with what we were trying to do, and it was creating too many problems. So we went in there and we were surprisingly amazed about how it integrated with HighLevel, which was Webinar Kit, just so anybody's watching. And big shout to them. I mean, we now have to see how it performs. We're running a couple tests in the next 2 weeks, and we're going to try out the software. But so far, I am overly impressed with how easy it was for the webinar software to use. The cost is significantly cheaper than Zoom and the current webinar softwares that are very popular out there by a good amount. And the quality so far has been pretty outstanding. And the fact that it integrated so well with HighLevel, Webinar Kit by far right now to me was a no-brainer. I just now obviously us testing the performance will be the next stage, but so far so good. But just the overall setup, way easy. Super we were able to connect to all the workflows inside of HighLevel. It was just really, really good. And now with Zoom doing this thing, because Zoom, the reason this all kind of branched into this is that Zoom has a webinar piece to it, but you have to pay extra for it.
Right.
It's super expensive.
Yeah.
And it only holds up, I think, up to 500 people, or no, 100, then 500, and then it goes to enterprise, which is like super abnormal.
Thousands.
Yeah, it's like a lot of money. And then it's got these features and everything else. But long story short of it is, they don't change the terms of service. People are going to seek out in the way. And we were going to webinars, and believe it or not, the main reason we were saying, oh, why don't we just use Zoom Webinar to get through this, because we know we can make it work on Zoom Webinar with the integration. And then the person we were saying that to says like, but yeah, but did you read the new terms of service? And I was like, no. And what do they read? And then they show me that. Holy crap. And I'm like, but he showed me a clip. I'm still trying to find where that clip is. But it was like, yeah, all your information in every single Zoom will be accessible for the bot. And you're basically signing off that right in the terms and service. But I'm like, I'm not agreeing with that.
You know what? That makes me wonder, have I agreed to terms and service? And this is something we should explore, because one of the other software we use daily for many clients to answer questions, because I hate writing emails. I know you do too. Doing a Loom, since they have that AI feature that gives all the text and automatically gives you the subtitles in Loom. I wonder if Loom, I want to explore their terms of service, because I wonder if that's the same thing that's in Zoom. It's a very
but it's personal to you, and that's okay though, as long as they're not sharing it and adding it to.
Right. That's why I want to check that.
Yeah, I know. I just thought it was wild. What's really cool, but we stumbled onto that too, that Loom transcribes your entire videos now.
Which is so much easier. I mean, you know, just one of the things that I was actually testing out, I didn't use it this time, but we just produced a new YouTube video that we put online today on embedding things in a WordPress website. And we'll get into WordPress and HighLevel in a little while. The fact I was thinking about trying to use Loom to transcribe the video before I put it up. But I just didn't have the time, because I wanted to keep on our schedule.
So you know what? It's funny you say that. I did it, and I was going to tell you about it. I just totally did it. So ironically enough, I went in, and so most of the AI software now can read a PDF. So ChatGTP, you can download a plugin. If you have the higher version code interpreter in ChatGTP for the AI does it. Claude can go up to, I think, 10 megabytes, which is significantly sized. So what I did is I went to Loom. I took this video of this person's webinar. I put it into Loom. It was a 25-minute video, almost like 3 gigs worth of things. It transcribed the whole thing for free.
Nice.
I took it and then I fed it into.
Oh God.
I fed it into the AI, and it popped out. Like I said, create a sales page, create a 5-page, a 5-email sequence, create an abandoned cart, create all this, and it's just like. It popped it one right after the other. And it's just like, I mean, it made our lives, it was one of our clients, it made our lives significantly easier. And again, we always go back and we modify whatever AI gives us, because it's a little funky sometimes. But it was able to read off of the video transcript, and I kept referring back to it. Based off this transcript that I provided for you, give me this next. Give me 3 bullet points with benefits. Give me it was amazing. And it's just like, we're shooting things out. I was like, oh my God, I was rocking through the page.
Oh, that's
wonderful. This is so cool. But yeah, that's what I did. Because I was like, oh man, I have this 25-minute video. You know me, when do I have 25 minutes to review a video? It's very hard for us to do that and break, and between all the calls and everything else. So I was like, yeah, let me do this. So I literally downloaded the video, put it in Loom, and then from there took the transcription, which came out in a text document, which the other things read. And then all of a sudden I took that and I read it in there, and then boom. And it was amazing. So, yeah. So don't know if you know that or not.
Well, you know what, that leads to what we were discussing earlier with, we got interviewed for a book recently that we'll mention it in a upcoming podcast. But we mentioned how if it's fed the right information, ChatGPT is great. If you just wanted to come up with something, it could be sketchy. But to your point earlier when we had that conversation, if you can give it very specific information, like a transcript from a 25-minute video, and you can pull out of that, it's going to be very accurate and have less things for you.
Yeah, I know. And what made me think, like we're in the process of rebranding. We're moving everything to automated marketers, as everybody knows. So we're going to try to become one brand altogether. And we were talking to our copywriter, Cassidy Dickens, who's hopefully she's listening, and amazing, great copywriter. She's been with us for close to 4 years, I think.
And does not use ChatGPT. Just so you know, everybody, she does her own copy herself and is amazing.
But do you remember when I predicted this? I said, wait 2 more years, and people are going to want some kind of NFT kind of situation where people are going to basically sign saying, or somehow manually recording what hours you spend on and how you physically wrote based on key logs or whatever else.
Yeah.
And they're going to want proof that this wasn't generated by AI. It's already happening now.
Probably businesses are going to want that first for the writers that they hire.
That's right.
For people who are working from home, because we're all working from home now, especially in our field. So they're probably going to want, are these people actually working? Are we paying them $150,000 and they're actually doing their job?
Yeah, but it was wild. So I mean, so just and this is all kind of interconnected, right? So we started off with Zoom. We're telling you how like the terms of service change, and again how they're involving them into AI. Then we started talking about how we stepped into Webinar Kit, which so far has been really amazing for the value that it brings, for the cost effectiveness. They have some really good integrations as an alternative for at least the webinar part of Zoom. We even talked about if anybody's kind of really upset about the terms and service with Zoom, and if again, I mean, I have faith in Zoom. We've been with them for a long time. I hope they do revert back. I would hate to change everything that we have set up, but I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't. And then we talked about how, again, the AI piece of this is like the transcriptions and taking the video and transcribing the video in a very quick format, how Loom's already doing it. And again, Loom is free for most. I think we have the enterprise versions, but the fact that it does it, and and again here, I took webinar content, I fed it into GTP and Claude. I used a couple of them to see which ones give me the best, and it came out with some really good context that I can start building, some notations on.
All these softwares are changing and they're updating themselves because things move so fast. In 3 years since the pandemic, so many different things have been updated so quickly. Like, I don't know if I was reading earlier today that Slack is actually completely redoing itself and getting a completely new design so that you can plan your day more in it with like things like task management and different ways to hold information as opposed to just a conversation. So Slack is about to get I don't have a lot of, I only read it quickly, but a lot of technologies, and I'll get into one in a little while. Some are older that are sticking around, that are improving themselves and getting better and better and better constantly, and they have to be improving. And this goes to what we've been saying before. If you're a business and you've had your old stale website that you never get any business from, it's time for an update, time to add automation to it, time to refresh it, time to have new information, because you're going to be left behind if you don't follow all these new trends. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to do this kind of stuff. These redesigns, these changes can happen very quickly and can use all the things that you already have. So you can be like Zoom and have new things, be like Slack, be like WordPress, which I'll get into, which is adding some new things, and they have a major update coming up soon. So,
well, yeah, let's get into that a little bit. But before you say that, something that I guess people don't realize is that when it comes to technology, the longer you wait, that means the more you have to change at one time because you're not keeping up with whatever's happening. So just please understand that, like anybody that's out there and you're waiting to update that website, now is almost a critical change. And especially if you have a WordPress site, like an old school WordPress site, big change is coming. So 6.3.
6.3 is coming out, and that's going to be a major change, and they're going to have some AI stuff that's coming in there also. But yeah, there's going to be a major change, almost as big of a change as when they switched from the 5 series to the 6 series. They redid the whole back-end interface. Well, they're just going further with that, with the Gutenberg interface and making it more like that. So one day, if you have self-updating on you should check with your developer right now. If you have self-updating, which a lot of people have set on their WordPress, your website, you can come to your website one day and be like, oh my God, what the hell happened to my website? Because they've updated not only for security features, but for new features for making things work. Or your whole website could be completely janky because you haven't gone in the back end, make sure all your content was right. These websites that they're building up isn't like back in the old days where we were straight HTML. These are ever evolving, ever changing, and monthly you're getting new updates for both WordPress and most of the major themes like Elementor and Divi. Monthly are putting out a new version of themselves to fix security patches and add new features and so forth.
Now, do you think it's going to have that much of an impact? I mean, people are calling it 3.0. That's like insane. Like they're making it out to be like
impact, but it's a further evolution of Gutenberg. And while Gutenberg is good, it's still kind of janky. The whole thing is WordPress is trying to make itself more like a website. I hear something in the background. I don't know if that's
Other than music, it's not me, I swear.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so
like unless the gopher stop looking at the computer.
have some of these really cool designs. You would have to get WYSIWYG applications, and for anybody who doesn't know, WYSIWYG means what you see is what you get. Applications, page builders added to your website in order to make it cool and do some really cool things. WordPress added the ability to do that with the Gutenberg update in 6.0. Well, now all these page builders have to add a little bit more sauce to make themselves continuously relevant. So the one that I use the most, we use in our business the most, is Divi. We added for elegant themes. Do you hear it in the background? That might be me. We use a theme called Divi from Elegant Themes, which we use for the majority of our projects. And today, I'll be doing an early video. Our YouTube coach actually told me I should get that out as quick as possible. I spoke to him on our Facebook chat. They have added AI content and AI images so that, for instance, let's say you have a nice picture of yourself and you're holding a book. And all of a sudden, it's Christmas and you want to have a Christmas theme. You can take your image in Divi and say, switch out the book for a gift and change my suit to green or something like that, and change all our images, and then also the add new content right from the Divi builder. Now this is huge to have it completely integrated, where you're doing your content and building out your images. Or let's just say you don't even want to search for images. You're like, I would like people talking in a business meeting as the image, as the prompt that you come up. You're going to get that image and not just search everywhere for it, and have the 4 choices that you put on Midjourney. Then put it into systems. I've just started playing with it. It's completely new. Literally just.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm actually right now on the page. I mean, this is what it's claiming: 500 new features and enhancements, and more than 400 bug fixes.
Yeah,
this release is packed to improvements to the WordPress experience. And you're right; it looks like here.
share it.
I'm gonna share our screen right here.
And you know what, folks? Another software that we use a lot, which we'll talk about afterwards, is HighLevel. If you have it integrated already, it also already has AI integrated into the HighLevel software.
So this is just so to your point, I get what you're saying now, and that kind of clicked for me a little bit. You said that because we use everybody uses a builder. We use either Elementor, Divi.
Exactly.
I think there's a couple of other ones. Beaver Builder. I mean, there's literally there's a bunch. And we're big fans of Divi, but I hear what you're saying. So basically what Gutenberg is trying to do is, hey, you don't even need that. Let's enhance the overall build experience and creating templates and doing whatever else. So look, I mean, browse pages, get page snapshots, publish, meet the command palette.
But you moved a little quick on that. If you could go back up now, this is what's really important right there. Oh, no, that says publish faster. So a lot of the problems with these builders, especially if you don't update it, people complain that my site's beautiful, but it loads too slow. That's oftentimes because the theme that you're using has a page builder and it hasn't been optimized correctly, so your website goes slow. Well, if it can be done all in WordPress without having to add extra themes, everything is just going to be able to go faster, which is going to be better for page speed, which is better for search engine optimization, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're focusing pretty heavily on design and syncing, managing, browsing. I mean, it's pretty darn cool. Lightning speed, going back to what you were saying, all times 24% faster. 170 performance updates, man. So this is massive, huh?
It's big, and if your developer doesn't know about this stuff, then you need to look for a different developer because it's going to change on them overnight, and they're going to be lost.
Wow, I mean, and it's got quite a bit. Well, here
a whole new video series on our YouTube channel about the new WordPress build, not only for the new Divi theme that's come out to do the AI stuff, but we'll be doing a whole series on the 6.3, and because it is such a major update.
Yeah, no, what's cool is I think we've been doing it actually in HighLevel where you can actually host WordPress sites inside of HighLevel and you've been showing people how to migrate it, how to install it inside of HighLevel.
We've been doing
Which
it
I think
all
is
month.
pretty good. But this, WordPress is still around. WordPress has been around for a while, and I like that they're, to your point, they're still innovating, right? So they're not resting on it, which is what I like to see.
Well, and there's a reason for it. And it's the same thing that Zoom is going through now. At one point, WordPress was 25% of the internet. Now it's gone down to 18% with all the new builders there. So they're saying to themselves, we've got to make ourselves a little bit better to go back up. Because you think about 25% of the internet, that's huge. But you take 7% of that away, and you're only 18%, you got to have a reason for people to still want to use you. You got to make yourself better. And when you're WordPress and you're competing with the likes of the Wix of the world and
Squarespace and all that, yeah.
Exactly. All the page builders, you got to make yourself stand out so that you have a choice for all these developers and make yourself easier. Because you know what? If you're just a person who just needs to get a website up, it's hard to just put up a WordPress website and go through all that. And it takes time. And when you can do something quickly on a Wix or a Squarespace point, it makes it so much easier. Or our favorite, HighLevel.
Yeah. So totally agree. So I think in the direction that things are going, but again, it just kind of goes back. You don't want to sleep on these things. We keep trying to tell people. I know that's like everybody gets so worried about technology. I think during our interview, one of the things that we mentioned is like a lot of the technology, believe it or not. So we'll give you a perfect example. Like we host a bunch of coaching calls and we usually get on and people are like, they get so stuck on the small little things like, oh, I couldn't upload a logo. So all of a sudden they just stop.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, I'll literally go on the coaching call. Great. Let's set up your lead magnet page right now. They're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, no, and they start giving me, I'm like, no, we're going to do it right now. So let's load up a page. Let's move this. Let's move that. Great. Let's create a form. And before you know it, they have a lead magnet in less than 15 minutes. I think it's the overall fear of people having that every time they get just a little bit stuck with technology, they'll immediately stop. And one of the big things, and I think it's like going to be a model for me, it's like, I think what I've been excelling at, and I think what we're excelling at a really good pace is that just helping people move forward. Like we definitely push the limits on a lot of things, but I think it's the moving forward piece of wherever people are stuck that it's kind of like what the big goal is here. So between all the free resources we give you on the YouTube channel, us coming in here and just telling you about what's updating is, we just don't want you to stop. Like we want to make sure that you're consistently moving forward because that is the one thing. And us coaching, I mean, it was funny. I think yesterday we were trying to calculate how many coaching hours and how many hours that we've had inside the different softwares. Man, I think it's like between us combined, between all the different calls and everything else, it's got to be 40 hours almost. I know it's over 40 hours, but if we wanted to be generous about that time and not over exaggerate, let's make believe it's 30 hours for the last 3 years of straight up coaching from a lot of the gigs that we carry. And it's been consistently about 30 hours every week, sometimes going into the 40s. So 30 hours a week, just do the quick math. What's 30 hours a week times 52 weeks? I just need to know that number. I've been trying to figure it out.
Wait. So 30 hours a week.
30 That's hours way over 10,000 hours.
52 weeks is 1,560. By the way, we're both doing it. So that makes it 3,000 hours a year. But I feel like we're doing a lot more. And then
again, it could be a lot more. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong, but regardless of which, and that's on the low end, right? And we've been doing it for about 3 years. So about close to maybe 15,000 hours of like coaching, fixing, building, doing this stuff, like the real deal, not like, some makeshift person that's watched the YouTube channel all of a sudden became an expert overnight. Like we deal with some real life stuff. And like, let's talk about the one critical thing that a lot of our customers and a lot of people that coach are experiencing: telemarketing laws and A2P and branding and campaigns. Go ahead. Before we,
one more thing before we get into that, because that's a super big piece, and I just don't want to stop on that one part of the conversation. The one thing we have going for us, and that you need to have going for us with all this thing, is about something that one of our past coaches, I'm going to give a shout out to a name you probably haven't heard at in a long time, Alex Sharfin, with momentum. It's about momentum, continuously with your momentum. So if you're looking, if you're afraid to do your lead magnet, if you're afraid to work on your website, if you're afraid to do this thing, once you start doing this and you build that lead magnet, like Nuno was talking about, in 15 minutes, or even if it's janky, it's about building that momentum. Better to put something out there than don't put something out there at all. And then get the work done. And And because you got to keep up with this stuff, because if you don't, you're going to get left behind or things will break, which is what we experienced which a lot of people who are texting are about to find out the hard way about things breaking with their phone numbers, with their text.
So anybody that's listening and you are in a Twilio scenario, meaning Twilio has the text messaging agent, this has been happening randomly to our clients. It's been driving us absolutely insane. So if you've been following all along, like, you should have been registered for what's called A2P, which allows you, basically, it gives telemarketing companies, you're paying telemarketing companies to allow for them to allow you to send messages to their customers via text messaging in a promotional or reminder style fashion. Problem that's been lying in, if you didn't complete the A2P registration, you're already way far behind. As of August, you will not be able to send any text messages until it's fully complete. Now, the people that have completed it, have been registered, and have been approved, little do we know that even though your campaigns and your brands, and it's two separate things. The other thing that nobody told us. So, well, they told us, but I guess I never put two and two together. When you sign up for A2P, you register a brand first, and then you have to register the campaign you're going to be sending for your text messaging. And that campaign can literally, this is what a campaign is: a reminder for an appointment, a reminder for 15 minutes an hour. That is all one kind of campaign. What everybody forgot to mention is that once you have your campaign and your brand registered, you have to assign the phone numbers. So we had all these, well, I would say the majority of our clients, we had all the registered campaigns, all of that was done.
We did everything.
Right. they were there, but we had to go back and assign them to the numbers. And we were getting a lot of errors. So everything was done. Everything was checked green. We were going back in there, rattling our heads. And then we reached out to Twilio, and Twilio was like, oh yeah, you have to assign the numbers. I'm like, where was that in the instructions? So, and I mean, if you ever saw those instructions, it is not for the faint of heart. You need like a
yeah. I mean, you do for the layman, it's very hard. For the developer, which we are, it's already difficult. I can't imagine if it's a person who doesn't do this on a daily basis.
It was nutty. And then going back, and what was crazy is I took you through the process yesterday. So you had to go back and forth in screens just to figure it out and where the brand was and with the campaign. So if you are a Twilio user and you registered your A2P and you registered your campaigns, remember, both for the campaigns and also for the brand, you have to assign phone numbers that are in your own account, not your sub account. So if you're running Twilio for other people and you're an agency owner like we are, and you have a GoHighLevel system, you have to register for every single sub account that's there. Absolutely.
And you got to do it.
This is how many accounts to fix this.
And this is important, folks. You got to do it by my birthday if you want to send a gift. August 31st. Just kidding. But you're not going to want to, because September is going to be a terrible month for you if you don't get this done. Because
they're already declining the messages now.
Be calling you going, what the hell is going on? September is going to be awful for a lot of agencies that don't pay attention to this kind of thing.
Yeah, they literally have said that it's already happening now. There's 30034 errors, and there's people that have like, I've registered, it's all green, it's all passed, and I'm like, but did you assign the numbers? That's the new thing, and I've done it with a few people, and then it takes like about a day or two to register, and then if you fail a campaign, get this, you can't send or receive. So, for instance, if you passed your business profile, it's green, and you passed your brand, that's green, but you failed your campaign, no go.
Oh, but then a lot of agencies aren't remembering one thing. All of your sub accounts.
That's right.
Also, right. All of your sub accounts.
So folks, if you're out there and you're in this whole like text messaging campaign and world out there, go back and ensure. And the reason you could, for anybody that's out there, is you go to Twilio, go to the right-hand side, click on your account, go to Trust Hub. In Trust Hub, go to Overview. In Overview, go to Customer Profiles. I've done this 17 times already. Go to a lot more than that. Customer Profile. Once you're a customer profile, check for the little green Twilio approved check mark. If it's not there, then you got to fix your business profile or reset it. Then from there, you got to go back into Overview, go into A2P messaging, go to brands on the left-hand side. After brands, come back, and then hit that thing that says assign phone number once you click on the actual brand. Then once that's done, you got to check that's got a green little check mark and is all ready to go. Then once that's done, you got to go back, and assign your campaigns by going to the left-hand side. Assign campaigns, go back.
We need to do a
Assign the
video.
numbers.
I think we need to do a video on this and post it somewhere, you know, because
No, man, this is like, but I'm still not 100. When we sent this, it was just like, again, and it's hard for Twilio is got a 2 to 3 week backlog.
yeah,
Just to look at anything over. So
they're going to have to extend it with the amount of people going through the system.
they're not. It's already. People are already getting their. Look, I dealt with 4 situations today that were during the coaching calls of where it's not even our clients and other people are experiencing a 30034 error. That is the error that knows that you're being filtered.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't. And then in one situation, everything else was good. The campaign was still being registered. It wasn't receiving, or it was, you can send, but you couldn't receive back. So now we're in the thralls of
check your HighLevel accounts, check your Twilio accounts.
Twilio.
And Twilio accounts, and please make sure that you take care of that. Now you just remind me of something else that's changing, Twitter becoming X. So, you know.
I know, like I don't have enough juice today to talk about.
Yeah. You know, everybody's rebranding, everybody's changing things. It's all new again.
Well, why X?
We live in.
Well, I know his son is son, right?
He owned it from years ago. He owned it when he originally had PayPal back in the day, and he had it, and he's just reusing it because he owned it. Because he's a rich guy who has a simple domain. He's like, hell, I want to use this, and it's X. You know,
well, I know his son is X.
His head's bald. It sits in a wheelchair. Will he be Professor X? That's all I want to know.
That went into the dark side right there. So but anyway, yeah. So we'll get into that next week. But again, so a couple little updates and reminders. Just the one, make sure you're looking at your Zoom terms of service. If anybody can find it, I'll post it inside of our YouTube so we can find it. I just want to read it. I want to see if it's true because, you know, there's a lot of made up things in the internet. So who knows if this is true or not. So I want to see it for myself. I saw a screenshot, but I need to read it.
Yeah.
That's the one. We mentioned some alternatives that you can go to. Check out Webinar Kit. We'll put the link in there. We'll tell you what the performance is once we actually launch the webinar and do a couple test runs.
Check out the new version of WordPress.
WordPress 6.3, the big 3.0, apparently. That's what they're calling it, 3.0.
The big 3.0.
You know. And now for anybody that are Twilio users that are sending text messages out, text message compliance, assign numbers, 100%. Check your A2P. Deadline is August 31st. Let's
get it done.
Everybody gets there. And then we'll
get it done. Get it done. Spend the weekend. There's a lot of weekends that are about to be ruined. There's a lot of weekends about to be ruined. That's all I can.
That's right. A few of ours have been already ruined for the last several weeks because of this stuff. Okay. So, but anyway, with that being said, hey, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.